Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Tune in and listen. Queens on a mission, dripping the mic on Sunday nights, presenting you with 2020 visions. So join us this day and every Sunday night with Ameerah, the Songstress, and on Blog Talk Radio, a for sure way to start your week off right. 2020 visions on Drip the Mic.
Hey, it's Ameerah the Songstress.
No regret.
You're tapped into 2020 Vision on Drip the Mic Network. All is well. Stay focused. Hey, you guys. Yes, we made it back in here another Sunday. I'm so excited. Yes. This episode is Spiritual Release, and it is featuring some of my favorite light workers. I like to call this the light workers takeover. They're taking over 2020 Vision. And I'm telling you guys, the spirit is so high because, of course, when we do these type of shows, you know how it goes. Anything that can happen will happen. So it's all happening. But the spirit is really, really, really high. And I'm not alone. I have some special guests in studio, as well as a special guest joining us via Zoom. But first of all, I wanted to introduce to you guys yet again our resident luminary, Omaka the Light. Y'all give it up for Omaka. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep. So no worries. And we also have another special guest that's joining us on Zoom. She goes by the name of MiMI, and she is our astrologer for the evening. You guys say hello to MiMI. Yes, and yes. And you guys remember my good friend, longtime friend, and spiritual guide, none other than Mandisa is actually in the studio with us today. You guys say hello to Mandisa.
Peace and blessings, everyone.
Yes. It's going to be a high spirit time today. I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all got y'all hold on to your seats, whatever. Take hold, because we're about to take off in flight, you guys. You don't understand. But first, I want to give out a couple of shout outs. I wanted to shout out some birthdays that just passed over the week and over the weekend. It's Aries season. Shout out to the Aries. Yes. You know, it's going to be a little aloof, you know. It's going to be a little aloof, but they are some of the loves of my life. First of all, I want to shout out DeAndre. Hi, Dre. It was his birthday. Happy birthday. His birthday was on the 26th. And then my best friend's son, Kenya's son, his name is Kendall, and his birthday was on the 27th. So shout out to Kendall. Happy birthday to you. As well as a good friend of mine. She actually shares a birthday with my son, Kimberly Wesley. Happy birthday to you. The Aries are doing it. There's a lot more. A lot of Aries coming through here. And yeah, like I said, Aries, we love y'all. But like I said, we know this season is going to be just a little aloof. That's all. That's all I'm saying, Aries. That's all I'm saying. Y'all come around and y'all spread that love and then y'all disappear. Can't hear from y'all. Don't know where you went. But when you come back around, you know what to say. You're so charming. You're so sweet. You know how to get your way. We love y'all. Uh-oh. Okay. Uh-oh. So anyway, we we are live. You know, just get ready because all kinds of things are going to happen. This is what happens when you're live. You're streaming live. You're recording. You're on several different networks, several different outlets. We're streaming live on Facebook. So hello, Facebook fam. You know, y'all showed the most love. Thank you so much for staying here, staying steadfast. Also, we're streaming live on YouTube. What up, YouTube? Thank you so much. We're also on Spotify. We're on Apple Music as well as Amazon in regards to a podcast. Thank you guys for listening and checking us out. And my IG Live. Hello, you guys. I did a little something different. I wanted to give you guys a front view of what's going on. So I'm not going to be able to really see your chats, but hello. Hopefully you guys can see me. Are we able to move that camera in a little are we able to zoom in with that iPad? No? Okay. Well, hopefully you guys can see me. I may bring you guys closer a little later on, but hi, IG. They like to watch from behind the scenes. But I'm not going to hold you guys too long. We're going to get into this thing. Omaka is going to do some grounding and he's going to show us some healing techniques, and he's going to kick this thing off for us. So let's get into it. Let's get into that spiritual release. Play that for me, Tony. Image is everything. It's where creation starts.
Welcome to the doorway of your vortex.
What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How big would you play?
The two most powerful words in the English language are I am. Because what comes after I am will shape your life.
He who tills his land shall have plenty of bread.
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
The Sanctuary of Holistic Love exists for one reason and one reason only: to help you create a life vision for yourself. Everybody is here for a purpose. Everybody is here for a reason. Everybody is something great. Stop minusculing yourself, thinking you're only here to do just a little thing. The Sanctuary of Holistic Love is here so that I help you create a life vision, so that I also can help you to overcome your fear and be empowered by your circumstances. My belief took 17 years to truly see it manifest. But I believe, and that's what I want you to do. And so when you come here, if you don't have that belief, that's what you're going to leave here with. That's the purpose of the Sanctuary of Holistic Love Healing Center. So that you can be reintegrated, recalibrated, realigned, and get back connected to your purpose.
Potency to them, as it is the sun and the moon and even the earth all working in tandem. But we have a few other additions with this full moon. We actually have the sun conjunct Venus, conjunct Chiron. So there is healing energy in this full moon. So let's actually start there with all of this energy.
Tried to turn myself invisible, but I couldn't hide. There was too much pain inside. Misery occupied like husband and bride, for every unified connection cannot be untied. You cannot divide the yin from the yang, the light from the dark. Even when the ark of the divine covenant is at play. I sail away every day, flying high, asking the ancestors why.
I don't know who this message is for, but I hear in the spirit, Nipsey says all of his plans and everything that he had going and was planning, he said, someone please pick up the baton and keep going. He said, keep building the community. And that was his dream. That was his goals. He said, keep giving back to life so that our children can have a life. He said, keep loving each other wholeheartedly. He loves his family. both his immediate family and his extended family, and he considers his neighborhood his family. He said, keep going. Don't look back. Don't turn back. He said everything that he had in the works was good. It's not a negative thing. It's not something to turn back on. He said everything was positive. Keep going. Don't be afraid. And if they do take us down, at least we went down for the cause. They can't kill us all. Build so that we can have something. I hear Michael Jackson say, come together. Y'all can come together about a story, about a scandal, about a Jussie Smollett, about a R. Kelly, about a Michael Jackson scandal. He said, won't y'all come together as a people? Remember Black Wall Street, y'all? He said, come together. What God has put together, let no man put asunder. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. No matter what you subscribe to, you know that the highest power is all power. When we come together as one, then we'll be moving in God's force. That's all I got to say for now. My name is Ameerah. Just came on here to give a message. Yes, yes, and yes. Just wanted to show y'all who y'all about to be messing with. The light workers are in the building. Omaka.
Yes.
Would you do me a favor?
Yes.
Would you indulge me?
Yes.
And kick this thing off. We want to be grounded. We want to welcome the ancestors, and we also need some healing.
All right, let me assist you in doing that.
Thank
And I
you.
just want to say thank you for all the work you're doing, and thank you for having me on this show once again, and nominating me as the luminary, the residential luminary of 2020 Vision Radio Show. I'm appreciative of that opportunity, and so I really want us to learn in this practice, and what I'm going to be doing is helping us ground, and this is going to be a energy cleansing, grounding breath work. And typically that is in terms heard as a body scan. But I think when we do body scan, we kind of lose the essence of what a body scan can do for us. And a body scan helps us to find that tension or find that energy and find that disruption that is within ourselves. And we are releasing it at the point of contact. And so that's what we want to do today with this breath work. And so for us and everyone listening here, I just want us to just find a place that where you are comfortable at. Seating. If you think standing will do it for you, then stand. If you believe laying down is the way to do it, lay down. I believe that sitting is the proper posture for this breath exercise, because you want your root chakra to be grounded to the earth. You want it to be tapped into the earth vibration. And then you want to be able to perk your chest up so that way your lungs are expanded. And so when you're sitting in a straight up and down position in this meditation, just follow my cues at the sound of the bells and you'll know what to do. So here I'm going to lead us into a 4-4-8 breath. And that just means at the sound of each bell, and we're going to do 2 rounds of it first so you can get a sense of the pace. And so we're going to do 2 rounds, 2 repetitions. And at the sound of each bell, just follow the cue. So you're going to breathe in, inhale for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 4 seconds. And then you're going to release it for 8. And at the release of this breath, you want to be releasing through the lips, and you want to release as if you're blowing through a very thin straw. That's the width of the breath that should be coming out of your mouth. So let's begin, and we'll start our meditation here now. So. And I want to begin to just breathe in for 4 seconds, just at the cue. This is just to get a pace of the rhythm that we want to keep breathing in. Hold it. And release for 8. 1. Breathe in 4 seconds. Hold it for 4. And release it for 8. And now that you have an understanding of the pace of or the rhythm that your breath should be going in and coming out, this is where I want you to just begin to now do this on your own at the cue. I'm not going to count for you. You're going to count on your own. And just at the cue of the bell, you're going to just remember to breathe and tap in deeper to yourself. So let's just begin. And now I'll be talking. The bell is not a reminder to count. The bell is just a reminder to feel, be present, get present. But the count is on you. So in this breath work, we're going to be doing an energy cleansing. Again, this is another term for body scanning, but they kind of get intermingled and lost within each other. So let's begin to cleanse. And we're going to do a body scan starting at the tip of our toes. Now, this breath work is called Savitra Pranayama. And that just means a relaxation breath. If we're going to talk to the ancestors, beloved, we are going to have to be at our most relaxed state. And so the breath helps us get at a relaxed state. But we have to, in order for the ancestors to sit within us, to come in and speak and we can hear, we have to be cleansed. We have to have a pure vessel that they would want to sit in. And so let us begin to, from the tip of our toes, just feel for what you're feeling for. And if there's any tension, and we're bringing the awareness around the tip of the toes, and we're working that awareness up the base of our foot and surrounding our feet, and then right around our ankles. And this is where your breath is. Your breath is in these spaces. This is the cleansing. The cleansing is the breath. The breath is the most pure thing in your body. And so we take the breath and we cleanse any tension, any negativity in the body. And so we just allow that breath to work its way up through the legs, and we're feeling it around our legs, our calf muscles. Feel for any tension. And just slowly keep working that breath, slowly keep working that awareness up through the knees. You can heal yourself through this breath work. I'm going to just keep talking as you keep breathing. You can heal yourself through this breath work. If you feel there is some tension there, you can sit there for a while. But you can heal yourself through this breath work. This breath work is not just for cleansing, but I want to give you the actual terminology, the scientific facts behind this. This is called the what is it? This is when you're breathing, you are activating the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, and the sympathetic nervous system. So you're activating the sympathetic nervous system when you're breathing. The sympathetic nervous system is where our feelings of joy and laughter and our feelings of passion and love and pursuit for our dreams and our desires. The sympathetic nervous system, when we're feeling this is where it's coming from. Where these positive energies that we're feeling within our body. Keep working that breath up through the knees and in through your legs, around your quads. And we're just removing any negative energy, anything that's in there you've been holding in that space. Because sometimes we wonder why we can't walk, and we think it has to do with one thing and just based in our knees. But we have to do a full body scan. a full body scan. We have to cleanse it all. And sometimes we wonder why we can't move our hands, why our fingers are going through pinched nerves and our neck have pinched nerves, and we can actually release pain. So just keep breathing up through the legs, up and through the quad muscles, and just surround that breath in through that. And so your body naturally wants to heal itself, because every time you inhale, you are activating the sympathetic nervous system. And then every time you exhale, you are activating a parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to get that word right. The parasympathetic nervous system. This is what you're activating when you exhale. And when you exhale, your body is actually releasing. It not only activates, it stimulates that part of our nervous system that releases the negative energy within us. Your body naturally wants to get rid of negative energy. Your body naturally wants to be away from laziness, procrastination. This is where that comes from. Apathy. It comes from the parasympathetic nervous system. And so every time we exhale, our body is releasing these things. And this is just the body naturally wanting to rid itself. And so when we are aware of our breath, we are aware of what we're taking in, we can actually be as happy as we desire to be. Keep working that breath up and through the abdomen, and we want to just surround that in our gut. Allow that breath to work around our back, our spine, coming up from the root up into the base of our spine, and then right through the gut and into the solar. Now we're going to raise that breath up into the solar. We're allowing that breath to just impact us in such a way. This is getting grounded. We love to think that going outside and putting our feet on the ground is getting grounded. But when you're grounding yourself with the simple exercise of a breath work and a body scan, you are actually coming back into your true self, your true nature, your God nature. And so we are working that breath up and through our solar, and then we're going to work it into our heart and let it expand our heart. Let that breath expand our hearts. We can be as happy as we desire to be. We can be as peaceful as we desire to be, because the body naturally wants to get rid of negativity, laziness, apathy, procrastination. And when you inhale, it wants you to feel joy, love, peace, purpose. It wants you to feel these grandeur things. And so now your heart is expanded with this love. When you inhale, you are inhaling in these things. It expands your heart. And now you have a deeper sense of awareness. You know what you want, and you know what certainty. These are the things we miss. We miss out on what we're certain about, but we can be certain in life. We can be absolute with our decisions. And then we raise that breath up and through from our heart, and we allow that breath to just surround our shoulders, around our neck, around our throat chakra area. And we're just healing our speech, our language, healing our communication. You see, now your ancestors are willing to come into a vessel now, simply because you are clearing up the space for them to speak. And now they're hearing. Now you can hear from them, because now they get to speak. Once you remove yourself out the way, can you hear? You're in listening mode now. And so now from the throat chakra, we just allow that breath to just work its way up and through all of our cavities and every orifice of our face and our structure of our face. And this is just every gate inside our face. And you got the ear gate, the eye gate, the nose gate, the mouth gate. These are the things where things enter and then take over our subconscious. And so we want to be so aware of when we think, when we love, when we give. We are giving from a holistic place because of what we take in, what we eat. Not just a natural meal or food, physical substance, but just spiritual substance. And then we work that breath up and through our crown, and we let it rise into our crown chakra. And this is where we're going to begin to tell off this breath work, where you are now allowing this complete work of grounding to not just be of who you are, but to be you and your ancestors at the same time. And so that breath and that energy is now released, and you release it. And sometimes I do a release just through opening my hands so that that breath, that awareness can just shoot down my arms out into space, out into my atmosphere, in my environment. And I'm touching others. I'm touching the surrounding people. I'm touching the atmosphere so that when everyone comes into this atmosphere in my environment, they are being touched by what I am releasing. At the sound of this bell, I'm going to close out this meditation, this grounding work for you. And I just want you to be aware and always to be mindful that with every inhalation, you are breathing in the things that you desire, the things that you love. And with every exhalation, your body naturally wants to rid itself of these other things that we just do not want in our lives. And so you're going to hear a bell here, and I'm going to just allow you to close out and open your eyes and come back into the room, into the space with us.
All is well.
All is well.
Ashe.
All right. The spirit is high, you guys. Spirit is high. Thank you, Omaka, for that. Ancestor says we are here. We are always here. We're always here. All right, you guys. I wanted to introduce you guys to MiMI. She's an astrologist and a reader as well, and a light as well. And we wanted to get into her story just a little bit because she's the only one that you guys haven't met yet on this through the show 2020 Vision. We are so happy to have her here. Mandisa introduced her into my life. We did a wonderful reading together. She was reading me, but it was a participating type of reading. And so we're just so glad to have you here, MiMI, and we want to share your gifts with the world, with the World Wide Web.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to say that meditation by Omaka was so wonderful and so grounding. I was feeling like a little nervous, and now I'm like, yeah, I just need to breathe.
Good. Now just turn my headphones up, Tony. Are they able to hear her? Okay, I turned mine up too. All right. I'm messing with all of these other knobs, so I'm sorry. Is y'all sound going in and out or something? No. Okay, y'all good? Okay. All right. We just wanted to, I wanted to open up with a couple of questions of you, and the panel is going to join in asking some questions, and we just want to get to know you just a little bit before we move on with this light work today. Yeah? Okay, good. So, MiMI, originally, where are you from? Where'd you start?
I was born in New York, upstate New York, like about an hour upstate from the city. And then, like at 12, we moved to California, which I really considered like Santa Cruz, California, my home.
Yeah.
I'm currently in Colorado,
okay,
but we are solidifying plans to move to Arkansas. So
yes.
We're known to travel and explore, and that has definitely felt like me. But yes, I feel like Santa Cruz, like the vibe, it's very chill and hippie. That always feels very much like home to me.
Yes.
So.
Cool. Now, when was the first time you discovered that you had these gifts and abilities? Did someone just, point them out to you, or was it something that was a self-realization?
It is a little bit of both. I mentioned that I'm a Sagittarius. Sagittarius are like natural explorers, very curious, like, oh, what's this? I want to learn all about it. So my first major relationship, we broke up after 5 years when we were 23.
Okay.
And I didn't understand why, or I couldn't figure out, like, we love each other so much, like, why isn't this working? And so I was searching, hunting for answers, and found astrology. And it's not like I didn't know, like, it was something I knew about in the background, but hadn't ever dug deep into. And so pulled up his chart, I pulled up my chart, and I'm like, what is all this? Looking at it, and was like, oh, I see. This is where this isn't working. And it kind of went on as a hobby from there. Just basically pulling anybody's chart that I could, like, oh, what's your sign? Hey, what's really going on there? I want to understand you better. I developed into doing energy work, like just really soon after that. And I would always pull the chart with it. And people started saying, hey, like, you're actually really good at this. Maybe you should do more readings. Do them not just like as part of energy work, like do a whole reading. And so that started little by little. And then it kind of just snowballed into like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes. And so it sounds like there was a moment that you actually tapped in when you started to hear from the divine. So what was that moment like for you? Was it filled with energy, or was it a portion of your brain opening up? What was that like for you?
Well, astrology is a language, and some people, when they hear the language, they're like, Jupiter, 22 degrees, Sagittarius, what are you even talking about? And for me, I was like, I know this language. Like, I know this inherently. I actually had a few psychics be like, you've been an astrologer for many lifetimes.
Wow.
Like, you've done this before. So it definitely, it was like, if you have one of those moments where the sun shines you and it's like, oh, like,
yes.
that thing when I really realized, like, no, I really am tuning into something. And it's still to this day will blow my mind when I'll be like, okay, so this is what's going on in your chart. Like right now, if you're feeling this, I feel like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what's happening. Like that's why I got so into it, is because it really is, for me, as I've seen, just so on point and can be so helpful in figuring out like our day to day and what's going on. So it's like every day, every chart's like, oh, when you tap into that energy.
Yeah. I remember when we were doing my reading, you were like, I usually get chills through my spine, but you were like, they have not stopped since we've been on this phone. Like, it's like zzz, electric. Those electric moments for you, what does that tell you? What I guess, when your spidey senses start to tingle, what does that tell you about the reading that you're doing with whatever particular person?
Well, astro-wise, sometimes you're telling people information that they don't know, but more often than not, you're really tapping into like what somebody already kind of knows about themselves and bring expansion to it. Like, okay, I know that I'm going through a hard time, but this is what the lesson is. So when we're doing your reading, like, more often than not, I really don't know what's going on with the person. So I'm like, well, this is, I have these cards, and hey, this is your astro transit. And I just remember with you, like, I have these things, I call them my psychic chills.
Yeah.
Chills, like running up my arm and up my spine. And you were so in alignment, and it was so in alignment with like what I was being told or being downloaded.
You were hearing, yes, yeah.
What I was hearing. So yeah, it felt so good to like be able to take anything that you were bringing to me, like your situations, your creativity, and be able to like, okay, take it to this level. I keep remembering like the the patience card, which has which is the moon on it, and it felt so potent to bring that. So
yeah, that's because I'm very impatient. That's what that was. That's you being nice, but basically they were saying, girl, be patient, calm down, okay?
Right. So, it feels important. Like, it feels like an important thing to be able to support people in reaching their highest, in reaching their best, in reaching their alignment,
yes.
And whether the alignment is, okay, this is the lesson, this is the challenge, or this alignment is, hey, you're being asked to rise up in this way, you're being asked to like level up, you know. So it's exciting, you know, to be able to support people through that process.
Right. Okay, I don't want to hog you to myself. So we have some other panelists that want to ask some questions. Omaka, you got any questions you want to ask Mimi?
Well, I'm just intrigued by your study and your what you do. So, astrology has always been one of those areas for me where I kind of get lost in the language, and I want to know, like, how can you help me and just understand more about. I'm not sure if you are, do birth charts and stuff like that, and you can interpret that. But I just kind of want a deeper understanding of what even it means to know your birth chart. Like, what does that mean for someone if they want to know that?
That's a really good and in-depth question. So first I want to address the language portion. You know, it is a language, and we do learn language by being exposed to it. So like if you have curiosity around astrology, get a book or watch an astrologer daily, because you will start to like, oh, you know, this planet means this sign has this tendency. You'll start to understand pieces. And I'm sorry, my cats are very talkative. Like to support the process. If you know the astrology language, my cat is Leo, and Leos love to be seen. So he's
animal spirits.
Right, exactly. So
Mahalo.
Mahalo, yes, that's his name. He's very royal. Anyway, so in regards to the birth chart, the natal chart, you know, what I find, one of the most helpful things I find is that we as humans seem to battle our true nature a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I have this love for this and I feel guilty about it, like a guilty pleasure kind of thing. And we can find that in the chart and be like, okay, well, maybe this is actually part of your higher alignment. It can really help you know yourself. It can also help you know, like, hey, during this cycle, this is a cycle of challenges, or this is a cycle of leveling up, like I said. If you're going through like a Saturn transit, for instance, that's a really helpful thing to know. Saturn transits can kind of feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So be aware of that. Like, hey, this Saturn energy is very strong for you. I find that to be really helpful. What else can a birth chart do for you? It can open you up to like hidden gifts, hidden talents. You know, again, a lot of times we're kind of like very conditioned and we can be shut down a bit. And so to tune into that, I can't tell you how many Leos I have reminded of the importance of creativity in their life, for instance. So, you know, to be able to bring that forward to somebody, it's such a beautiful process, you know, to help. It's almost like soul retrieval in a way, like, hey, this is a part of your nature. Ameerah, she actually has really psychic gifts in her chart, you know, and so she's very aware of them. But a lot of times people aren't necessarily aware of that energy. And so it's like, hey, maybe you could work on this, pull some cards, like tune into that. So it's really exciting, like I said, to bring forth these parts that you may not be completely aware of.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I think it's funny. One of the reasons that I recommended Ameerah to have a reading with you is because we were doing year ahead readings. And those of us that are overachievers, you know, and over planners, you know, I was driving all of my personalities nuts. And then Ameerah was calling me and all of her personalities were driving me nuts. And I know she was driving her teams nuts, you know.
Shout out Burundi.
So I said, Mira, why don't you have a reading with MiMI a year ahead, and she can kind of plan your organized chaos. So I think that's what I find astrology very helpful in a way, is it kind of helps you not be so hard on yourself if you're trying to push against the energy. And that's what I appreciate. I think I've been with MiMI now for about 7 years. I found her on YouTube. Not quite sure how I found her. I've been through her losing her dad, her going through being a recovering Catholic,
Yeah.
being a mystic and a recovering Catholic upbringing, her kittens, the loss of her kitten, the finding of her kitten, her finding her twin flame. I don't think that people really appreciate some of these beautiful YouTube influencers.
Yeah.
So every day I listen to MiMi and I'm like, MiMi, what's wrong? What's going on? And then she gets downloads and she'll go, listen to this song, and then it'll be an earworm for the day. So MiMi, my question to you is, with this new paradigm shift that we're all going through right now, are you finding that more people are reaching out to you and asking questions and wanting to know, and not feeling so that it's going against traditional thought or religion, but just having that natural curiosity to where they finally have the courage to say, hey, what does it mean if I have, Pisces rising and I have an Aquarius moon in a Sagittarius sun?
Back and forth. So obviously you mentioned it. I grew up Catholic and Christian, and I've had a lot of people kind of push against me. And yet you find, like, when you hit moments of crisis, which 2020 for a lot of people felt like a moment of crisis, right? That you're looking for answers, you're looking for support. And it did crack people open. I think one of my favorite things, actually, in regards to people reaching out to my family, I would say my family is like tough nuts to crack. And my sister will send me texts like, what is Mercury doing? Or is this Uranus again? And that makes me so happy when they like start playing with that language, That being said, I think a lot of people are also kind of at this point very saturated from what's going on outside of them and all the information. So like I had a major spike, and right now it's kind of like a little quiet, and I feel like it's actually kind of good. It's Aries season. Aries is about like our I am, who we really are. And I feel like Aries is so directly connected to the soul. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's where we kick off the energy. And so I think it's really good that it's a little bit quiet right now, that people are listening to themselves. They're listening to their sovereign selves. We do have all these answers inside of us. Even if we don't know, like, oh, I'm a Sagittarius with a Pisces rising, whatever. Even if we don't know that energy, the lessons, it lives in us. So it's always been through my astro career, like, woo, we have so many readings, I don't even know like when I can schedule them, and then it's the time where it's quiet. And I appreciate the energy in both. I appreciate people connecting into themselves, and I appreciate being able to bring forth the lessons. But I do feel like this is a major awakening time for us. We have the nodes. So the nodes is like kind of like the North Node is our North Star. It's the head of the dragon. It's where we want to feed our energy. And then there's a South Node. So the South Node is in Sagittarius right now. South Node is like the back of the dragon. It's the bottomless pit of energy. And so this paradigm that we're working with is about keeping our mind open right now, listening for the new lessons, and not getting stuck in old dogma or old beliefs. And so it's a really, really potent time for us to shift and be open and tuning in to what the world has for us on any given moment or day.
Oh, wow.
And my other thing too is how do you balance? I feel that there has to be this whole new business structure created for spiritual businesses. Another astrologer that I really enjoy watching is Leo King, but I've watched him get up every single day and do a daily video, and do a daily video, and then he would crash. And then have to go into weeks of self-care and feel like he was apologizing. What I appreciate about you is you found that balance in you will, even though you've committed to show up every day, there are times where you'll just write a blog, or you'll give us a heads up, or you're really open. How do you find that balance between being open with us who are your clients and depend on you every day, but we shouldn't be so needy as to the point that we don't give you your time to do you and go through your process? but also just finding that commitment to push through, even though you don't want to do the dailies. Because I know sometimes you won't even put the camera on, or you won't be in front of the camera. You'll just do your thing. How do you balance that? And what recommendations do you have for people that have this calling? Because it is a business. However, it's guided by spirit. So sometimes there's that strange balance in between.
Such a good question. It's just recent that I've been allowing myself to do like a little type up, or even be off camera if I'm not feeling the camera vibes. I talk about something in the Astro called responsibility, not responsibility, responsibility. And that is, you get to respond in a way that's true to yourself. And this is true for all of us. We all have this ability to respond in a way that's true for us. We have to be very in tune with ourselves. And so, astrology is a calling to be in tune with ourselves. Another thing I like to talk about is like the balance of body, mind, spirit, soul, heart, like working together in tandem with these energies. So for me, like, I know I can get up here and it's actually very enlivening to like tune into the astro. Like, these are the messages, because I am like downloading from spirit. I am bringing it through. So it feels good. It feels good to me to do it. That's why even if it's off camera, I am so happy to show up and do that, because it's like, I don't know, it's like a daily spirit shower kind of thing, right? Listening into that. That being said, for me, like the process of actually sitting on camera or uploading the video, or even like sometimes even typing it up, that's more daunting to me. Now I know Leo King, like he goes through a major process. Like he will often like edit the videos, and there's so many people who are doing so many edits. If I had to sit in front of the computer doing all that, I would not show up daily. So it's knowing for me, okay, I love hearing from spirit. Like, these are the messages. I love pulling the cards. I love tuning into the energy. I love seeing like, how can we work with these energies instead of like pushing against the challenges, or even pushing against like the good that's there. So again, that's enlivening for me. That is not the case for everybody. I have some friends that do videos like, I could not do it every day like you do, and they're not called to. So it's really being aware of what your level of that responsibility is. Because it's not the same. I always say, and this is part of the Aquarius energy, we all have a calling. We all have pieces to bring forward into the whole. So this is my piece that I can offer. If I was doing things that weren't in alignment, it probably would really take me out a lot more. So it doesn't, because I've personally found, at least at this time, what my alignment is. It doesn't mean that can't change or won't shift in time, but this is what that alignment is. And so therefore it's working for me, but everybody has to figure out, what is that responsibility? How are you responding in a way that's true for you, and not getting caught up in the conditioning? Like, both the responsibility and conditioning, both of those energies can go with Capricorn. And so it's finding that higher vibration, which is that responsibility, rather than being in what people say that you should do. Everybody has their own path. Are you tuning into that? And that's, again, something that we can learn and utilize through looking at our charts.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. So now we know about MiMI. Yes. So we have a few chatters. We want to get some chatters in here, and then we're going to switch gears. But let's see what the chatters are saying. From Facebook, we have Patricia McNair. Is that what I'm reading? She says, "Hello." Is that? Aloha. Hello, all blessings from Canada. Then we have from Facebook, Natero, the light. This is very electric. I'm thankful for this moment. And then we have Patricia again, and she says, "Love you, Miss E." The beauty in the middle, Ameerah, is so strong with the ancestors. They wish her to know they are asking her to stop carrying their grief so that they can entrust her voice for them in a way that her heart is screaming for. So I'm gonna finish reading, but the reason why she's spot on is because when he was coming to the conclusion of his grounding, they were standing touching my shoulders, as they quite often do. and they were saying, "We are here. We're always here." And right as he was closing out, I was literally fighting back tears and holding back. I started to get really, really emotional, which I often do when I do readings. I get very emotional because I feel like there is energy. So when they're talking to me, I'm interpreting just the energy, and I'm speaking it the best way I can speak it. So even with their emotions, they're always very, very heavy. It doesn't hurt when I'm crying. It's not a hurt. It's just I can just feel it. And so I was like getting ready. I was like trying to stop myself from crying in that moment. And so the fact that she picked that up through the internet, that's bananas. Patricia, you're off the chain. So anyways, and she's right on. She has her oversoul rushing in within the next 12 days. You're gonna have to tell me what an oversoul is. Is that right? Am I reading that right? Is that what you wrote?
Well, Patricia is another one of the people in our beautiful network. So.
Okay, rush it in within the next 12 days. Blessings. I am so excited for the transition of soul-based business. Yes, speak, Patricia. We're gonna you definitely got to call in a minute. You know, you guys, we're gonna in about 30 minutes here, we're gonna shift gears and we're gonna be taking some phone calls, some questions, and everyone is gracious enough to do some quick short readings on some of the guests that calls in. You know, we don't have a lot of time on this show, but we're gonna get into it. But Patricia, definitely give us a call. That call-in number is 646-378-0355 on Drip the Mic Network, and you want to press 1 to be heard. So press 1 and it raises, your hand to let us know that you want to come in on air. But go ahead and, get the line all lined up, start calling in now so that you can get in line to speak when it's time. But as of right now, we definitely want to shift gears. We want to have you host the show, Omaka.
Oh, wow. I'm the host?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, honey.
Hey.
It's time for the host.
And this portion of the show is called The Three of Me's.
The Three of Me's.
The Three of Me's.
The Three of Migos.
Yes. And the reason why I'm calling it The Three of Me's is that we have MiMI on Zoom. My nickname, deriving from Ameerah, has been MiMI always when I was a little girl. And tell us about your MiMI, Mandisa.
I just started calling myself MiMI when I first started talking. My dad would be like, who? And I'd be like, me. And it just kind of stuck. So the three MiMis.
And it's not like we didn't know. Yeah. But it was like, hey, my nickname's MiMI, So it's the three of me's, and we're going to be in the hot seat, I guess. And Omaka is going to send us through this thing.
Yes. I just wanted to say thank you again for this opportunity. But anyhow, I do have a lot of questions I've been going through my spirit, because this is a spiritual show today. This is a light worker show.
Yes.
And there is a lot of fear around spirituality. And so there's people out there who don't want to get involved with learning about their chart or learning about those aspects of themselves or going into meditation. I can tell you so many times I grew up Christian, and when I decided to, walk my own journey, it was a fearful one to do because I was so afraid of the judgment. I want to ask all three of you, the first question I want to ask you is, what encouragement could you give to someone about spirituality to take that fear away from jumping into this work?
I would so happily jump in.
Okay.
Because I remember, my process of that. There's a guy I was dating at the time who was very Christian. He was like, Christians very much frown upon astrology or doing anything like that. But what kept drawing me, I obviously had a relationship with God, universe, spirit, Jesus, and I kept feeling more connected, going to church and, growing up Catholic, I never had felt super connected. Like I had a personalized relationship with spirit, with God, universe. And so as I kept dropping in deeper into this, that relationship was expanded. I wasn't contracting. I was feeling more in tune with the universe. And it was like through that conscious connection with God, spirit, universe, as I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going this direction. This feels good. Show me if I'm wrong. Like, if I'm doing something wrong, please show me. But it just kept feeling better and better and better. And I would say, like, my relationship has just continued to develop through it. But, you know, we all have our personal relationship with God, universe. But, like, feel for yourself. Does it feel expanded or does it feel contracted? Because that really helped guide me through the process.
Yeah. You want to take it next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would like to say that all of the scripture, especially the Bible, is so full of people who took this path and how they were ridiculed. So we're in good company.
Yeah.
You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be rejected. You're going to be misunderstood. And that's why they say many are called, but the chosen are few. And that's not because anybody else is more special than anybody else. It's because you have to make the choice and you have to make sacrifices. And it's not an easy road at all. So the only advice I have to say is stay true to yourself, and your path is your own path. I'm a scientist. I'm an Aquarius. We're scientists. So when someone first told me, you know, I grew up around hippies and Native Americans, so I always knew I was an Aquarius, and I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I'm a little bit dark and sadistic, you know. And then when I was in college, I tripped upon astrology and found out that I had a Scorpio moon and Scorpio rising. I was like, oh, there it is. That's my dark side, you know. So when you find out that you're not just an Aquarius or a Gemini, but you have a sun sign, a moon sign, a Venus sign, a Virgo sign, you know, it all comes together. And then all of a sudden you have this map, right? And then when you look at your map, and then you see the road that you're on, which is where the stars already are. And, you know, like having the reading with MiMI, her saying to me, hey, well, you know, for these 3 months, do this, but do it patiently, you know, do it consistently, but patiently, and let the energy come. Scientifically, I think that the Aquarius age is going to take the wonkiness out of spirituality to the point that people won't be afraid of it. Then you're going to be afraid of science. That's why I liked when Brother opened up and he was talking about the science of the breath. Well, if we recognize that we are cells, we're just cells, trillions of cells. So why are we mad at a president when you are the god and the goddess and in charge of trillions of cells? They don't get a vote. Did your toe get a vote when you didn't, you know, give it a clean water? No, your toe didn't get a vote. So that outside we're trying to change. It's the inside that needs to change. And when you know that your brain is the biggest pharmaceutical company in the world, and then your cells have these receptors, and so when you're depressed, then your cell is a chemical. So your cell has these receptors for the depression to go in. Well, guess what? When that cell divides, because you've been feeding it depression, it doesn't create receptors in that new cell for nutrients. So is obesity really a thing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you break spirituality down to science and then energy, it takes away all that
mystical,
having to fight with the preacher. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, my granddaddy was a preacher, so I know about the good book. But I also know about the good book.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that.
Ooh,
That's
that was
powerful.
good. Yeah.
Very powerful. And I want to piggyback a little bit on that. I was going to say self, you know, go inside self. You know, you're responsible for self. And when you think about energy, it's the same. It's all the same. The only thing that exists is pure positive energy. The difference is the person that's interpreting that energy. So we're all pulling from God, from spirit, from higher power. We're all pulling energy. We're all plugged in to that higher power. But it's the person that makes the difference. What are you going to do with that energy? Another word for energy, power. What are you going to do with your power? Some of us, we're going to blow up and teach and feed and heal the world. Some of us are going to glow up and blow up and decide to try to enslave others. Some of us are going to glow up and blow up and try to have all of the resources, all of the food, all of the money for themselves and their family and their friends. What are you going to do with it? A lot of times we try to blame evilness on the devil, what they call the devil. And it's just you not taking responsibility for yourself because you were giving everything by your higher power, by God. You were given everything. And then you fell into something that didn't serve you. And instead of you taking responsibility for yourself and changing that thing, as Mandisa so eloquently described, you have the brain to reroute yourselves. They're supposed to wake up and do what you say do every day. But you chose to do something different that didn't serve you. And so instead of you understanding that or even taking responsibility for that, you decide that it was the devil that did it. You decided to name it something else. You decided to look at that thing and call it evil. I mean, I can understand it being evil because it doesn't serve you. But chocolate cannot serve you. Chocolate can be the devil. So I think that because we were giving everything, we are responsible for ourselves. It's not to say that God is not with us. It's not to say that grace is not, shined upon us every day. It's not to say that. But it is to say that if you told your child to go do something and they didn't clean up their room and now they're mad that they can't go outside, they want to call you the devil. But you didn't do as you were, not even as you were told to do, but as you were showed to do, because that thing serves you.
Yes.
And so I feel like when you put the onus back on the people that are saying that's evil or that's bad or that's wrong, when you put it back on them, it gives them a whole different perspective. Because even someone that you look up to in the church can be the most underserving the people person that you've ever ran across.
Preach.
So clean out the raps in your own eye.
Right.
Before you start, And the other thing that I believe that has plagued us in this entire world is that when we grow up with, Lauryn Hill said this, traditions killing freedom. You want to hold on to your traditions because they were passed down from generation to generation. Not saying anything is wrong with that in the, from a very skewed view of things. Nothing's wrong with it, if you're just like, well, my mama taught me that. Or, I see people with the Confederate flag. This is history. My dad was a farmer. My dad fought for this country. And I saw one brother say to that man, but who tilled your land for you? Who taught you how to grow the corn? And that's the same people that you enslaved. So just because that was your tradition, was it right? And if it served you then, and it probably did serve you then, think about it. If it was the other way around.
It benefited you quite well.
But does it serve you now? And so I know because of traditions, we get into this thing where we want to fight and kill to uphold something that someone taught us, 60 years ago, 100 years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, because it's called tradition. But what about evolution?
Wow.
If we're not getting any higher, what are we doing? We have to move this thing along. This is what this thing is about right now, going higher.
The earth is, and everything around us in nature shows us that it is always two things. That one, it is always expanding. And number two, that it stays in connection with each other. So everything is interconnected. You look beneath the ground, you got all of these different species of trees, but underneath the soil, they're all connected by root. And so we have been missing the ball on that one when we're looking at, this tradition over here is working for me. But, there's, and you were speaking about the age of Aquarius, I believe. And so there's this information out there that is coming through, the stars and the planets that are aligning and showing us that all things are working together. All things are working together for our good.
That's right.
And I think where we lose it at is we get disconnected from the nature of who we are. And that's how we begin to lose our spirituality. And so people are afraid to go into spirituality because it really just, like you were saying, it's you. It connects you back to you. Because you're connected to this thing that is everlasting, infinite, eternal, expanding.
Yeah.
You're connected to that, but you don't want to tap into that because tradition, it serves you, but it also does what? It prohibits you. It stops you from doing the work. You're like, go ahead and keep doing the work for me. I'm good with that. I'm lazy. I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I don't want to read. I don't want
the books and the rules and the instructions are already here. I don't need to go and find a new path. You know what I'm saying?
That might, and dare I say, that may not have had anything to do with you 60 years ago, 100,000 years ago. It might not have nothing. And when it did have something to do with me, I was there back then, allowing it to do something for me. Now I'm this. Now I'm here in 2021. Those same things don't apply. Just like those shoes don't fit anymore.
Right.
That dress doesn't fit anymore. I don't even wear that same hairstyle anymore. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to keep you right there though, Ameerah, because you had opened, the show was opened with a video of yours. One of those videos you were talking to Nipsey and some other entertainers. You were hearing from Nipsey, and this is a question that really makes me feel I'm strong about being able to talk to the ancestors. That's why I wear my uncle, and I got it tatted on me. And you are tapped into a part of spirituality that a lot of people are truly, when we talk about how can we encourage people to go into it, well, once they get into it, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. It's a rabbit hole that just gets more deeper. So now I want to ask you, how do you how do you even begin to talk to spirits? But more importantly, how do you know when they're talking back?
So, I'm glad you asked that question. At first, I thought that they were coming to me. And I think I told you, Mandisa, this. I thought they were coming to me. So I thought it was them with all of the power. And I thought it was them with the connection. But just like we were just talking about, going inside self, connecting to your higher power, which is source, which is everything, right? So if you're tapped into source, you're tapped into source. If you're tapped into infinite intelligence, you're tapped into infinite intelligence.
You've been giving me chills on that. I'm serious.
All knowing, everything. You're tapped into everything. Why wouldn't? And it's not just the people that has transitioned. It's you. I can talk to you. When we're not, physically, engaged. If we're not on the phone or if we're not sitting right here, I can talk to you. I can talk to Mandisa. We've been talking to each other for years and hadn't physically talked for years, and had been talking to each other for years. And people have to understand a memory, a thought, a vibration, energy, power, God is all the same thing.
And energy never dies.
I could just say God, 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 and that would have been I would have been using all of the same words. Right. So what it is it's just being tapped in. It's just being tapped into self. So I thought, like I said, because I used to say, well, Nipsey came to me, or Tupac came to me, or Michael Jackson came to me. No, one time Michael Jackson told me, no, you're coming over here to us. You're just so nosy that you walking over here in the fourth dimension. Hey, what's up with y'all? What y'all doing? And I am. I've always been nosy, and I've always been very curious, and I wanted to know and I wanted to see. It's the same experience when I first realized that I was hearing from God. Now, when I first realized I was hearing from God, I was still very churched, still very religious. And so I would tell my friends, so God talked to me the other day, and it would amaze them because it would make them, feel like, God was like, Mira, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
lightning bolt,
and I had to say, no, it's not audible like that. It's like I'm having a conversation with myself. It's just me thinking. It's just me imagining, which is the same thing. Imaging. God made us in its image.
Yes.
God imaged us,
Yes.
imagined us.
Ooh.
It's all the same. There is no disconnect from that. So when they be like, oh, that's just you doing that. Well, yeah, well, that's just God doing that.
Mhm.
It's the same. Where is the difference? See,
Right.
you make the difference. I don't. It's all the
Yes.
same. It's all relative. So when I first started hearing and understanding, to prove it to me, and God doesn't have to prove anything to anybody, but to
Mhm.
prove it to me, then God would have friends or someone would show me, it would show the same thing that I just heard Spirit say in the Bible.
Yes.
So I would get confirmation follow-ups even afterwards. So that's how I started to even believe in what was going on with me. That's been going on with me since I was a child. And so that's how I started believing. And so then I thought to myself, the first people that I remember speaking to wasn't someone that has transitioned. It was someone that's alive. And I heard them very clearly. I just said, let me start talking to their higher power. And when I said something to their higher power, they answered. I heard them very clearly. And then when I saw them in the flesh, I told them what I was talking to them about, and they confirmed that we had been communicating.
Yes.
And to this day, that relationship is still that we communicate without, physically talking to each other. So then I started thinking, like, when Michael Jackson came around, I didn't tell anybody for probably a couple of years because I just knew everybody's going to tell me I was crazy. And the first person I told was my husband, and Michael Jackson teased me all the way I walked from the kitchen to the bedroom to tell my husband. Michael Jackson knew what I was about to do. So Michael Jackson teased me all the way there. He's like, your husband about to think you crazy because he's silly. He's still Michael Jackson. He hasn't, and so I told my husband, now my husband ain't gonna run out the door, but he was just, okay, cool, right? Long as she ain't hurting herself, I'm gonna go with it. But when Nipsey came, or when I saw Nipsey was very aggressive, very, not in a bad way. He was just very who he is. And he was not gonna not let me deliver his message. That's why in that video you see me shaking and crying, because first of all, he's standing right there. And, he's just giving me energy. Everything that he's feeling, he's giving it to me to say. But he was not going to take no for an answer because he needed that message to be delivered. What he did to confirm that was the funeral was a week later from the taping of that video. And what he did to confirm that is he allowed his mother, his best friend Nunu, and the preacher that gave the eulogy at the end to have the same message that I gave, and he gave it to him in 3 parts. And I was sitting there watching the funeral and watching them say the words that he had given me to say a week earlier. And it was at that moment when I decided that I'm doing this.
Okay.
And so I started asking my friends to give me somebody to contact.
Right.
Somebody that I know nothing about. And my friend, she said, well, my father. And as she was describing her father, as she was talking about her father, his face just started coming. And I started describing the way he looked to her. And, she started crying, and he had a lot to tell her. He just wanted to say, that's what they all want to say, I love you. They all just want to say, I love you. That's all they want, no matter what the message is. The biggest one is, I love you.
Wow.
And so,
wow.
Yeah.
I just want to throw a little pebble in the pond of that thought that you had when you were talking about it's a vibration, it's God, it's all the same. And that's so true, because we've all had that experience where we say, we talking about someone and then they show up and we say, oh my God, I was just speaking about you the other day, or I was just thinking about you the other day. So that's kind of what that relates to. Same thing is we can think of people and then they pop up, but you're actually calling them when you're thinking of them. You think they just pop up, but really
no, you're summoning
them. You're calling them over. So
Yeah.
when you're thinking about someone, that's you pulling on that energy, that you're tapped into that frequency.
And everybody has free will. So everybody has a choice to come or not come.
Yes.
On either side. On either side. Even when someone's on the other side trying to get your attention, because they do that a lot.
Right.
We ooh, it's a scary haunted house. No, that's just your mama trying to get your attention because you ain't talked to her in a while. Tap in.
Absolutely.
So, they're always, but you have a choice. You have the option to tap in or not. Go ahead.
I wanna ask this question that relates to all 3 of you, because I know that all 3 of you do. Mandisa, am I right that you do readings too? And so I want to ask this. I'm a storyteller, so I kind of want to hear the story behind this. I want to start with MiMi, and I just want to ask, like, what is that conversation like that you have with someone who comes to you for the first time for a reading? Like, tell us that story. I think that'll take a lot of the anxiety away from people that are looking to do that. Because can I share what happened with me and you?
Oh yeah.
Because when I was on the phone with Ameerah about, what was that? Maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, about 2-3 weeks.
And I had my first ever reading done by Ameerah, and that was like, it was breaking something open for me, and I was like, oh wow. And so it before I had that done, there was a lot of fear in it for me, because I just didn't. I was like, look, I'm a healer. Let me stay in the healing space that I'm in. I don't want to know anything else. But then it really, oh my goodness, what it did for me, what it opened up and allowed me to tap into more.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask that question, like, what's that conversation like that you're having with somebody who's coming to you for the first time for a reading, MiMi?
I think it really depends on the person and what they want. Like, I think I enjoy readings where it's like people come in with an agenda. Like, here's my questions, or here's what I'm going through, because it can give me direction of what they want. It doesn't mean that spirit doesn't have, its agenda and like, hey, these are the messages. But I personally approach like the world and astrology like the universe is working for us, with us. Like we are in co-creation. Even things that are challenging in the astro, it doesn't mean that it's bad. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm afraid you're gonna tell me something really, really bad. I don't think that I'm not that astrologer. Even like when I pull like the Tower card, or you have like a Saturn energy. Again, how can you use this to level up, to leverage, to connect deeper with your soul? So that's my approach. Like, it doesn't mean that we can't dig in to the deep and the challenging and the dirty. Like, we can absolutely go there. But my personal goal is like, how do we lift you up? How can we work with this energy, rather than like, this is happening to you? That's never my approach. I would say one of the most challenging planets is actually Pluto. When I talk about Pluto in the readings, a lot of time I'll talk about Plutonic colonic. Like, Pluto will bring the stuff up that we have to deal with. It's not necessarily pleasant. It can feel quite challenging. But the flip side of like, the challenges that Pluto brings is the empowerment. So rather than like, this sucks, this is going to last for 4 months, it's like, no, this is empowering you in this area of your life through these challenges. So there's never something so bad in astrology that it doesn't have its redeeming qualities. So again, that's how I approach readings. It doesn't mean that I'm going to say things that you don't want to hear, because sometimes that can happen. And sometimes what we don't want to hear, we have these blocks against things that aren't even like really bad, but we like, I don't want to go there. I'm not ready to go there. Actually, when I met my twin flame, the person who did the reading was like, well, MiMi, I know you don't really like the idea of twin flames, but I have to say, this person is like, like if you guys are two sides of the same coin. Like, she put it in all other beautiful ways, so even if there's something we don't want to hear, it still like might be good for us, good for us to hear, good for us to experience. So I try to be gentle, and I also try to like, let's work through this. Let's find the gold. Let's find the gold, in the challenges. So that's personally how I approach it.
Can I interrupt one quick? I'm sorry. I was supposed to do this earlier. It's the toast. I'm sorry. I forgot all about the toast.
Let's do the toast. Get into it. Get lit.
Each month we feature a new bottle of whiskey, and Mr. Cook tells us all about it. So come on in here and do your thing. And then we're going to propose a toast to the light workers. Don't know if you drink, but whatever you drink, that's fine. Green juice, water, whiskey, wine, it's all good. We're going to toast, but go ahead, Mr. Cook. Tell us all about it.
All right, this month we're toasting with Oben 14. And it's Oben, O-B-A-N is how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Oben, as in like O-H space B-I-N. And then it's a single malt scotch. So we're back on the scotch this month, but it's a single malt scotch. And then Oben is one of the oldest distilleries in Scotland. It's I think it was established in 1794. So it's actually a very, very old distillery. So.
All right. Well, I want to propose a toast to the, you know what? I'm not going to do it. You do it.
Oh,
Why
wow.
don't you propose a toast to the light workers today?
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that raise your glasses, whatever you got. Like she said, green juice, smoothies, tea. And just, toast to understanding, loving understanding and living and loving life, that however it comes at you and however it's meant to be, however it comes, that it's not just meant to be, but it's all divine. It's all for a purpose. And we're toasting right now to the purpose of light workers, here to do the job that others don't want to do. We're here to go into the pain. We're here to go into the hurt, pull it out from ourselves so that we give you the most purest of ourselves. And so we're just raising the glass to being pure today, pure light workers today. Ashe?
Ashe.
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 Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud, Mimi.
Oh, tasty.
I wanted to get into the astrology of the day.
Yes.
So can Mimi kind of just tell us what the,
Mimi.
No, this Mimi.
Oh,
tell us the
that Mimi.
astrology.
Not that Mimi or this Mimi, that Mimi.
This Mimi is going to tell us the astrology of the
Please
day.
do.
This Mimi is going to break it down.
Yes.
And then I'm going to just say it in layman's terms.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mimi.
Well, I'm really excited. This is a pretty cool full moon. So a full moon is when we have the sun and moon in opposite signs. And when we have oppositions, it can be a pull against, but I like to look at it as energies working together.
Okay.
And so we have the sun in the sign of Aries, which is all about the me energy, the I am, who we are, the self. And like I mentioned earlier, really connecting deeper to like, oh, I'm Mimi, to like, no, I am Mimi's soul, and here I am. I'm here to roar. And then we have Libra, which is the we. So really finding balance in knowing who we are and showing up in our authenticity, like soul, sovereignty, authenticity, energy. In any given relationship with the we, where we have connections in the world. So we're working through that. What I love about this full moon is that the sun is not by itself. The sun right now is conjunct, which is an astrological term. It's conjunct Venus and Chiron. So conjunct means these planets are basically like all at the same degree. They're all kind of working together, enhancing each other. So Chiron's the wounded healer. Chiron is where we all are working to bring healing. So Chiron in the sign of Aries, we're working to heal who we are. How I'm approaching that is really like healing through those layers, like I mentioned, to really recognize our deeper I am, not the labels that we put on ourselves, but really like that sovereign soul energy. And then we have Venus, and Venus is a planet that can represent relationships, but also beauty and pleasure and our gifts. So as we have these energies all together, it's really this calling, I think, to be in deeper relationship with ourselves, really connecting, like these are my gifts that I have, that I brought to bring forward, like us, showing up as light workers, bringing forth these gifts, but in authenticity of and with the self. And again, there may be some wounding energies coming up today. That's part of that Chiron, to help us peel through some of the conditioning, to help us peel through some of those layers that have been put up. So with this full moon, be aware of any feelings coming up that need to be processed. That's often part of that healing process. And be aware of where you may be putting up shields or putting up walls and not willing to show that authentic self, because there's meant to be some healing around that. And even just like that Venus energy, loving on ourselves, loving on the relationship that we have with ourselves through all this. I also want to mention it's such a great night in general for this podcast, because the chatty energies, the air energies are very connected right now. So it's a really great time to be absorbing and assimilating information, connecting into things that are new or different. So hopefully you as a listener are getting something new from this. Listen, what is the point of all of this for you? What's the message from God universe through this? Because when we have all these air signs are like messengers. So we're meant to be receiving messages as well beyond this full moon energy that we're working through.
Perfect.
Makes perfect sense. I just before I go over the energy of today, I just wanted to circle back to something. In the Bible, Psalms 82 verse 6 is ye are all gods and sons of the Most High. So it's in your Bible. If you're going to preach to me about the Bible, talk to me about Psalms 82 verse 6.
Yes.
Me personally.
Can I chime in and throw,
Absolutely.
can I add some more juice to that?
Okay, yeah.
When he says these things that I do, ye also can do much greater.
Yes.
So who are we to not do and challenge ourselves to do those great things?
Yes. That's what I keep
God
asking.
will be looking down upon you if you didn't do that.
and Mimi will tell you that, in the Catholic Church, in order to become a saint, you have to have performed a miracle. Imagine that. There's a lot of saints that are revered in the Catholic Church that were mystics.
Yes.
But all this is so scary,
She's
right?
Funny. Imagine it.
I'm an actor. And
my God, this energy is crazy over here, y'all.
Hey, I got it.
I'm just good at what I do. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just good at what.
The pretty man wanted to be here, so I got my
God,
Prince.
Mimi, next time you better come, girl.
Yeah, we're gonna kidnap her from Arkansas. I have so many questions about that, but
yes, go ahead, Mimi.
Yes,
So, I'm
an actor. And so I like archetypes and allegories.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I interpret astrology and charts and readings and everything. So when I do readings for people, it's kind of like I put them in a play. William Shakespeare said all the world is a stage and we are but actors, right? So I always let my clients know that they are the actor, producer, director, the lighter, the costumer, catering, all of that for their life story. So they're in charge. If they don't like the director, fire him. They don't like the lighting, I don't know what to tell you. But we all have to take our place on that stage. Okay. So when you look at astrology and even look at tarot or anything that deals with pulling the energies to get information, you have to kind of look at it in that context, that it's just verification of energy. I don't call myself a psychic. I call myself an energy reader. I pick up the vibes and the auras of people. Yeah. And I tell people, I can only tell, I'm not a fortune teller. I can only tell you what you already know. I can only confirm it for you, because all of us have that voice, that inner voice, but we don't listen to it, or, oh, that's just a coincidence. We have these flashes of visions and insight, and we always play it down, especially because we've got haters around us, or we're afraid of our own light, like we were talking about earlier. So, with it being March, 28th, I study ancient Chaldean numerology. Okay. And so it deals with compound numbers and singular numbers. So the number 28 is the sacrificial lamb. Okay. So it's a person who is really a brilliant person, a person that's kind and loving. But for some reason, all of their dreams and all their goals are always sacrificed for somebody else's intentions. Okay. And Mimi talked a lot earlier about sovereignty and authenticity. This is not a group thing. Spirituality, ascension is not a group project. So there's a lot of us that have had past lifetimes as healers, as monks, as mystics, and burned at the stake, ostracized, kicked out of our communities. And so we have a lot of wounding around that. So I feel that a lot of people that are tuned in tonight are the sacrificial lambs, that they are always putting other people before them, or they are always putting their dreams or their goals on the back burner. maybe it's just like, oh, well, you know, the 9 to 5, and then I'll write my songs at night, instead of embracing this Libra moon, which is emotional balance. Your emotions have to be balanced. They have to have that energy of passiveness in a state of readiness. My acting training comes from Japan. Tadashi Suzuki is the guy who created my acting method. And my acting professors were the first professors that came over from the United States to teach his acting tradition. He doesn't believe in any winning awards or anything like that. He said, actors, your job is to tell the truth. And so you have to have strong legs. We talked about that in boxing. You have to have strong legs because that's where all the truth comes from. So you train as an actor, and then you become this vessel. It's the same when you know all the different parts of your birth chart. It's the same when somebody does a reading for you and they're able to tell you, this is past life stuff that you can take with you because that's why you brought it with you. This is past life stuff you have to let go. It's all a cornucopia of everything. But to make it less scary, I make up characters, you know, and I'll be like, you know, a Gemini, right? You got to figure out which twin you made the plan with. So don't get angry about that. Or, you know, I'll be talking about a Leo and say, oh, well, just rub his belly, and tell him that he's nice, you know, and let him roar and everything will be okay. But with an Aries is a ram, and it just bam, 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 bam. So that's the energy that we're in. People are feeling their I am self, you know, but the I am that the light workers are feeling is an authentic I am integrity, that I don't have a mind that goes over here, over there anymore. I just have a soul that says, go here, go that. Don't ask any questions. Whereas this I am energy, this Aries energy right now is making people go up in their ego and they're thinking they all that. And then they become then they become the people that sacrifice the lambs. Right?
Wow.
So there has to be this self-awareness of, you got to stop. You got to stop taking on the suffering of our ancestors. Stop taking on the suffering of those of us that we've lost from police brutality. Stop taking on the suffering. Eat it like metal and spit it out and build something with it. And then your I am, your mighty I am self, you no longer become that sacrificial lamb. And you can move forward with balancing your emotions. And you're in that state of readiness, just like in boxing. Just like before you run a track race, there's that moment between stillness and getting ready to go. And that's what this energy is. That's what this full moon is asking you to do. Are you going to be in your mighty I am, or are you going to be in your ego? Are you going to be the self-sacrificial lamb, or are you going to be the victor? The victim or the victor?
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Great.
That's powerful.
Great stuff.
Well, definitely the ancestors are here. They're talking. To piggyback on everything that was said by both MiMis, the two of me's, and now anyway, it's just, I'm gonna be real corny with it. But yeah, they as you all were talking, they were just kind of echoing what you guys were saying. So I'll just say it how I hear it, and if my voice gets a little weird, that's just because that's what happens when I channel. Anyway, so they are saying that, you know, as they always say, we are here, and we are always here. And they said that you don't have to carry my burdens. We just ask you to carry our love. They said that we are tuned in to you, that you are what's, you know, on our television station. They said what is going on with you is where our concern is and where our love is. They said you are on the main stage. It's up to you. They said that it's your turn. They said dance. They said fly. They said be great. Michael Jackson, he's always singing Living Off the Wall. He said living crazy is the only way. Living off the wall, do something out of the ordinary. Do something extraordinary. Go for it like it's the last dance. It's the only way that we're going to push things forward. We can't move standing still. But we're here. We're always here. And we love you. We love you. You've been given everything, even our wisdom. To include strength and just lay your burdens down. You don't have to carry them. They were never yours. They said walk around it as if it doesn't exist. It's only you that's concerned with your troubles. We see what's in front of you and we see your capability of getting there. We know the place that you're at and where all your dreams and your goals, we see them. You just can't. And we are going to get there together this time. We want your life to be full of abundance. And it's only because of you that we have life. So stand in your strength and your truth. Stand in your knowledge and your power and your all-knowing. We are full of love and light, and the only reason Ameerah is crying is because we're full of love and light. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. Do you not know who you are, my beloveds? You are the manifestation of us. We are here, and we are always here. I gotta come out of it now, y'all. It's just way too heavy for me.
I just want to say something real quick about you, Ameerah. And that is, with millions and potentially billions of people, in this world, many of people, no matter who's watching tonight, the potential that billions of people could be looking right now. It takes a lot of courage to do and speak and come from the place that you come from. And when I think of you, and I think of the legacy, when I think of you, I'm going to think of the legacy you left behind for me because of our connection from how we've been able to build. And a part of that legacy is going to be how you were so strong and powerful at being unafraid to still do this, to still tap in, to still come from the places of our ancestors when we live in a world of so much judgment and so much hate and so much jealousy and so much just putting you down type of people and energy. For you to understand, I just want you to know the impact. And I'm only speaking out because I've seen you tear up online when we were on video before, but seeing you tear up in person really touched me differently. And it almost made me tear up, and I'm really not an emotional person. But just
I don't really be crying like that.
yeah. But to have me really fight back my tears, that really says that you're true to this. You're true to being tapped in. And I'm just thankful that you are not afraid to go into that space. And regardless of billions of people watching or just me watching, I still get I got something from that. you know.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's for.
Yes.
That's what it's for. Any callers, chatters? Okay. Let's get some chatters in here. And then, Omaka, you can continue with your interview. Now, you know what? Can you read, starting from that line, can you read the writing?
Yes.
Okay, it's a lot. So start here. And that means Facebook.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me read here. Patricia McNair. Yes. MiMI, living it is loving it. Being it makes it not a chore. And Netaru the light. MiMI is awesome. Jennifer Kaufman. I am so booking a reading from you, MiMI, this week. I have followed you for many years now. Patricia says, Ameerah, you're so beautiful.
Thank you.
Tyson, I need to sit on my hands and open my ears. Netaru the light says, expand it, not contract it. I love that. Patricia says, transparency of the soul is bringing sovereignty through the personality. Divine action is the new consciousness. Emotion is energy in motion. What motion do you choose? And that's a the light. I love her perspective. Mandisa, your explanation here was very powerful. And that's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, chatters. We love you guys. You
Doing
keep
our
us
job,
going.
doing our job.
Thank you,
Yes.
Facebook. You guys are always going up. IG, thank you for, they love to be behind the scenes. Y'all wave at the IG folks. They're right there in that way. And then, but anyone that wants to call in to get a quick reading from one of our panel members, that number is 646-378-0355. 646-378-0355. And when you call in, you want to press 1. That way, our engineers will know to bring you in on air so you can ask some questions or just, want to talk a little more about astrology today, or get a quick reading from one of us. Please give us a call, 646-378-0355. Press 1 to be heard. And while we're waiting on that, Omaka, we have time for a couple of more questions before we start, wrapping this up.
I do have a question for Mandisa, and this question is, I know that I see a lot of people in spirituality come into this space, and I'm not one to judge. So I'm not here to say, oh, you are a healer, you can't be that, you can be this. I'm one that is okay with whatever it is. So I want to know, are we all healers? This is a big question, but it summarizes itself at the end of it. Are we all healers? Can we all be healers? And can a healer dwell in these other spiritual aspects like astrology, psychic work, and intuitive guiding? And so that's kind of the question is, can we all be healers, or are we all healers and we don't know it? And can we dwell in those spaces with that work?
Well, absolutely. I can start with the scripture and then I can move on to science. Scripturally speaking, Christ said, physician, heal thyself. When you go back to what I was speaking about scientifically about the cells, I would recommend that everybody watch the show, What the Bleep Do We Know? That's BLEEP. It's supposed to be F, but What the Bleep Do We Know? And it takes the human body down to its lowest common denominator. And when you're able to take your body down to your lowest common denominator, which is a cell, and know that a cell divides, and know that every 7 years your body actually recreates itself, what is dis-ease? It's a dis-ease in the body, which brings us back to our breath, which is our origin, because the Creator took a breath and then spoke life into existence. So you have this breath. Through your breath and through your voice, you can heal yourself. I have business partners in Canada that do sound healing with gongs. Music is vibrational. It heals. So yes, we are all healers. The problem is that we live in a microwave society and a pill popping society.
Can you explain the microwave society? I've heard that term before.
It means we want everything instantly. You know, it feels like healing has become a hot pocket. You gotta put a hot pocket in. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what, 30 seconds to cook hot pocket in the microwave. That's what people want for their health care. But they don't understand mind, body, soul is the truth. Mind, body, soul is the truth. So as you thinketh, you become. So your thoughts are very toxic. Like I said before, you're thinking these thoughts create chemicals. These chemicals go into your cells divide, your cells create receptors for you to become a chemical and not a soul. You become a chemical and not a soul. So you become artificial intelligence.
Ooh. Stop it. Ooh. No, keep going. Keep going.
So we are all energy. I like to do just basic energy, making basic energy balls and feeling the energy between your palms.
Yes.
You can activate that.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
scan your body with that. And you can feel where there's heat, there's a dis-ease, there's an imbalance. And like you said, you send the breath there.
Yes.
So yes, we are all healers, and your path is your own because you're energy and because you are God. That means that you're everything.
Yes.
I'm Ameerah.
Yes.
I'm Omaka. I'm Henry. I'm Tony. I'm
everything.
MiMI, for real. We're everything. I'm this microphone. This is not an inanimate object. This is a thought in somebody's mind.
Right. Yes. Come on
Before
now.
it became a manifestation.
Manifestation.
There's millions of microphones out there.
You're talking my language.
Somebody
now.
thought about, no, I'm going to need this to do this, and then I'm going to do this. It's a thought. See, we're all miracles.
Yes.
Billions of sperm.
We're all creators.
You were the one that said, I'm the one. But we forget that we're a miracle. And then we get stuck in this matrix, stuck in these boxes. And then we don't realize our potential. I didn't know that I was psychic. I thought everybody was psychic.
Right.
I started understanding my psychic abilities when I was a teenager because I always knew who would call before they called.
Yeah.
I always knew when somebody was sick. I always knew when somebody was going to pass.
Yeah.
I thought that was normal.
And I thought it was normal.
I just thought that was just something that was normal. The first spirit that I saw, I was sitting in my living room and some young black man just walked through the middle of my living room. And I said, well, who was that? I watched the news next day. It was Bill Cosby's son. Because I'm open, I'm connected, I'm a portal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as you open yourself up more out of fear, then more and more gifts and abilities come to you, and more healing gifts and everything like that. So you are everything.
Yes.
So you are a healer. You're anything that you want to be.
That's right. You have the equipment.
You have it. You're absolutely right. And I just asked that question because I know a lot of people are afraid to. I'm only speaking from experience, not because of me, but because of people around me. And I've had that, oh, you're not a doctor. You didn't go to school for this. You didn't go to school for that. You don't have a degree in this, and you can't really. And I'm like, listen, I've seen people heal themselves. I've healed myself. And I don't need a doctor to diagnose me.
Right.
To help me, understand what's going on inside of me, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. All around,
right?
All phases. So I just threw that out there because people tend to believe that, oh yeah, healing, that's for the doctor to determine.
There's a reason they call it practicing medicine.
Okay. It's the practice of medicine.
Yes. I want to ask Mandisa and Ameerah this question, and I heard y'all play around with this phrase names and stuff like that, and so I want to talk about and get people to understand names, and I'm going to preface it by saying this. I've went through many names. Omaka has recently become my name only of 20, like right at December before 2021.
Okay.
But I was obeying for a while.
Okay.
But I transitioned from obeying because the information and so before I get too deep in that, this is where I want to go with it. Meanings of names and is it disrespectful to change a name from that of what your mom or your dad and deeper than that? That's surface, right? Deeper than that. what is the purpose of us having to go through the transitions? So what's the purpose of that? Interpret that for people. What's the purpose and meaning for you to have to go through a transition? Why must you go through a transition? Why must you receive a new name? Do you need to receive a new name when you go through a spiritual transition?
I think identifying oneself is everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's what you identify with. I mean, and from the beginning, our name was supposed to represent who we are, right? So, quick story. I was preemie. I was 4 pounds. I was supposed to be due in March. I came out at the end of February. I got here through hook or crook. My mother was high blood pressure. They told her not to have any more children. I was the 12th child. She had 12 kids. She was going to die. I was going to die. So they took me by C-section, but I was determined. I came here. I had all my faculties. I was little and I never had to go in an incubator, but I had to stay in the hospital for 3 days. My mother said everything was little and perfect and cute. And she wanted to name me Princess, but she thought too many people had already named their child Princess, and it wasn't, I'm going to say it wasn't good enough, but it wasn't, it didn't speak to everything she wanted it to speak to by just saying Princess. So we were in the Nation of Islam at the time. So she looked in the Arabic name book, and found the name Ameerah, which means princess. I go over to the Middle East. The way my name is spelled, it means queen. The way it's spelled, because there's different denominations of my name. You can spell it Ameerah, the way I spell it, or Amira, or Amirah. And, it can mean prince or princess, depending on which spelling. So I have done my best, I would say, to live up to that name. I love my name, have always loved my name. But I believe that, and I believe that was my self-identity. That's what I identified with. But as I start to evolve, because evolution has to happen, when I went over to the Middle East, they was like, the way your name is spelled, it actually means queen here, the way it's spelled. So, I feel like I did have to travel from across the world to understand and find that out. But, I often refer to myself as goddess now. Because that's what I identify with. So I think it's not only what you can stand up to or aspire to be, but it's what you actually identify with.
Wow.
So, and very boldly, sometimes I say, no, call me goddess.
Yes.
Some people say, me and E was talking about this yesterday, but some people, I've been asked maybe twice, not too much, not as much as you, but I've been asked a couple of times, so are you a witch? And I always say,
that's common.
I always say, I prefer goddess.
Yes.
And not that I have anything against witches. You know what I mean? Again, it's we get all the power, all the energy from one place, God, pure positive energy. The difference between a green witch, a good witch, and the bad witch is the person. It's not the power.
Yes.
It's what you do with the power. So that's my answer.
It's funny. I was just, called a voodoo priest the other day. So I understand when you get called a witch. I was called the voodoo priest.
Mimi looked like she is she about to bust out her scenes. What you got to say, Mimi? I see you.
Sorry, I'm muting myself. No, I've had this. I had the same experience. It's funny because Mandisa and I both, as like babies, like named ourselves Mimi.
Yeah.
And I really do think it's part of this Aries energy, just to take it back to that, really recognizing what identities you connect with. And so I just say, in regards to names, my parents were gonna name me Gabriella, actually. And then I was born on my sister's violin teacher's birthday, and they named me after her. And my soul still feels mad about it. I think it's the reason, that I haven't changed it yet. I was like, no, Gabriella, Gabby, it fits. But that's why it became Mimi. I'm not going to identify as your thing, but what we identify it with, whether it is witch or goddess or priestess, feel aligned with that again. And it may shift, and I think that's okay. I know a lot of people who have issues no, you were named your name for a reason. I think there's truth in that. Maybe tune into the reason. Don't just dismiss that. And yet speaking of evolution, we're evolving, we're shifting, we're changing. You know, sometimes we become a whole other person in a lot of ways. So to be able to find the alignment that feels right with that, I think is really it's I think it's important.
Yes.
Personally.
Wow.
Great. So we're coming down. We came down to those last few minutes. The time has gone so quickly, but I would be remiss if we don't get this in. I want to know what's up with or what's next for the healers that's on the panel. What's up next? And I would like to take this time to invite you guys to talk about what's next for you, and we'll show your corresponding websites and flyers and information to that. So we're going to start. Let's start with MiMI. What's next for MiMI, and then we'll show her information as well. You have all that, Tony, ready to go? Okay.
All right. Well, I'm really excited. I'm not sure yet when I'm going to launch this because we have a move incoming.
Yes.
But I'm going to be doing a deeper group intensive around feelings. Everybody has a fourth house, and the fourth house is the house of feelings, and there's different planets and different energies. Mental health, emotional health, it's so important. We don't all feel or experience feelings the same way. And so sometimes we can judge other people's experience based on our own. And the thing is, again, we all have our own unique way of doing that. So I intend to do a deeper dive, exploring charts, but also exploring just on a wider version, like, okay, why does a Sagittarius feel this way? Why does a Scorpio feel their feelings this way? And I think it can bring understanding, whether you're like tuning in for your child. Okay, my child's a Taurus and they feel things this way, and I don't really understand it. To be able to understand that, like for a spouse, a child, a friend, a coworker, to be able to understand that can really open doors and open understanding. I think that's one of the things the world needs. So I'm going to be launching that, to be determined when, hopefully soon, because I'm really excited to dig into that. So that's my next big thing. But I do readings all the time. So if you resonate, if you'd like a reading, if you want to, experience a reading for a first time, I think I'm a good person to experience that with. And you can always check that out on my website, Gaia Blooming, and contact me that way.
Okay. Thank you. And can you give the audience your handles, any other handles that they can reach you at if they just wanted to take a look around?
Gaia Blooming. It's Gaia Blooming on...
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Sorry about that. Don't worry about that. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No worries. Gaia Blooming on Instagram. It's Gaia Blooming on Facebook. Gaia Blooming on YouTube. That's where I post my daily videos. So yeah, if you look up Gaia Blooming, you're going to find me. But if you're looking for like my daily offerings, YouTube or Facebook is the best place to check for that.
Thank you, MiMI. We really appreciate you being here and joining us. We have to do this again. Typically when someone comes on, we give them a whole 2 hours all about them. So I feel like I cheated you. So we're going to have to definitely bring you back, and hopefully you can do your show on our show. And we would definitely love to have you, but thank you for your light today. And just thank you.
I think it was a great group, and I love a good collaboration, and we are in the age of Aquarius, so it's a good time to work together.
Right. You guys want to say anything to her before?
Love your work already, and I'm just only understanding you through this podcast. So I just want to say I can see it pouring out through your pores, and it's very enlivening, like you said. Use the words you said, enlivening. And so continue to do the work that you're doing.
MiMI, you're such a beautiful person, and I've just had the pleasure of watching you grow and develop over the years, and it was just my honor to share you with my community, and I really hope that this is a blessing for you, because I know that you're here to do great things. So thank you for your light.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be so honored by you with your scientific mind. I love that.
That's really good.
That's crazy.
It's a good
You know. Speaking of that, Mandisa, can you tell us what you got coming up next?
Well, I am like Pinky in the Brain. I am taking the world over with love with my activist artist academy and network called the Kiamsha Temple of Awakening. and we provide all kinds of community services. We teach people about civic engagement and spiritual awakening, and we are launching our own television network on May 17th, 2021, and we are looking for content creators. Our network is going to be called Soul Zenzuki. It's a mind, body, soul network, and we will have 25 different channels. I'm out here in LA talking to Black Hollywood about possibly bringing some content onto the station. So we look at this as a great opportunity for artists that want to stay independent and sovereign, and artists that use their platform to change the world and make the world a better place. So we're very, very excited about it, and to be able to put Ameerah show on here and highlight Ameerah and anybody else that wants to join us and change the world one heart and mind at a time. So you can find me on Facebook at Mandisa Subira. I have a blog talk show called the Mandisa Effect on Blog Talk Radio. And you can always email us at info@kiamshatemple.com if you're interested in pitching a show idea or want to know more about our network.
Thank you, Mandisa. You know, it's always a pleasure. Every time you come, you might as well be a resident too.
Hey, I'm working on it. I'm looking for an apartment.
Right here.
But I definitely love your light. I appreciate your light. I'm excited. I'm excited about you being here. She's going to be here with me for a few days. She's also going to be in my music video coming up. Yes. So I'm really excited that she's here. We're going to play and get into all kinds of MiMI mischief
yes.
while she's here. But, you know, speaking of sharing, I love sharing you as well. So thank you again for blessing us with your light.
My honor.
Omaka.
I'm here.
Yes. You want to tell us what you got going on and coming up next? And yeah.
Absolutely. I'm having a spiritual retreat. I've done this last year. It was called Fusion Retreat, and I'm doing now a 2.0 version of it. So it's Fusion Healing Retreat 2.0, and I'm doing it in North Carolina at the Mountain Light Sanctuary in North Carolina. And I am going to be hosting, just how to heal and workshops on meals, on food that heals us, and hosting, just having a good time really, and getting really deep into the knowledge of spirituality as far as being self-healers go. And so I'm holding that event June 25th through the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be again in North Carolina, Asheville. And also just me working and partnering with other nonprofit organizations, with my organization, Soul Center. We're partnering with other nonprofit organizations, looking to partner with anyone who is willing to, call on us for a helping hand. If it has to do with homelessness, child hunger, youth academics, youth athletics, whatever it is, we are an organization that is willing to come in and join you and help you do whatever it is to help your organization grow, whether it be raise funds, fundraising, and whether it be get out there and just get some signs and some signatures and help people become volunteers with the organization.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that's actually what I'm doing. Right. So I'm looking for people that's willing to join me in that mission and helping others grow.
So how can they sign up? Where do they go to sign
up? Well, they can find me at my new website, soulcenter.com. Soul is spelled SOHL.
We have that. We have that one.
Yes. So
okay, we're gonna show it before we we end this broadcast. Just send it to them. Do you need me to send it to you again? Okay.
So it's just soulcenter.com. You can just Google that or whatever you do, and it'll pull right up.
That'll work. Soulcenter.com. I ain't even get I mean, let's work smarter, not harder.
Right.
and I have this lovely,
the shirt.
Yeah, I have this lovely T-shirt. Can we put the camera on me?
Yes. The sanctuary.
Yes.
The sanctuary of holistic love.
Oh,
he came
I love
bearing
it.
Gifts.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
Purple and gold, amethyst
Royal.
and gold. Yes, honey.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so beautiful.
Yes. On that website, you can find me and my services there, what I do, what I offer. And also, I do have a new book coming out. She has my older book, but I do have a new book coming out.
Oh,
That's
there
it.
It is. There it
that
is. So
yep.
beautiful. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. See? We thorough over here on 2020
Yes.
Vision, baby.
2020
We ain't
Vision.
gonna leave you stinking at all.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you for coming. And then, I have the book in the flesh, as we call it. He blessed me with this. I'm gonna have a lot of good reading over the next few nights. Oh my God, there's an inscription. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead and look at that.
To Ameerah, you are a beautiful songstress and a lovely soul. Fly high and soar well. Soar well. What's that? Songbird. Master Omaka. Yes. So that's crazy because remember, see, I can't make this stuff up. Fly high and soar well. What was the ancestors saying a minute ago when I was giving the message?
Wow.
I can't make it up.
Tapped in.
Y'all saw it. Yeah,
Tapped
right
in.
here. And I just read.
And I didn't write that. I wrote that earlier.
Yes. And I just looked. I didn't even know there was something in here. I'm just saying. It has definitely been a pleasure having you guys here. Thank you, Omaka, for hosting the show. This was fun.
It was.
You took it like, hey, what you talking?
What you saying? What you telling me?
I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. What?
Challenging me?
Like, I'm about to run the show. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming. You guys, man, y'all came from, where'd you fly in from?
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yourself, where'd you drive in from?
I drove in from Seattle.
All by herself, by the way.
By the way. I
Crazy.
was on a mission from God.
Oh my God, you guys. And then MiMi, you're on mountain time, right?
Yeah, I'm here in Colorado, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I don't know if you had the wrong Zoom number at first, but I'm like, where's MiMi? You know? And I was like, oh, she's talking. I can't hear. What'd you say?
I was sitting here waiting with it pulled up, from the call time, and I was like, something's wrong. I should check in. What was going on? But I made it here.
Yes, you guys.
Wonderful.
And it was so funny. Like, we all had headaches or whatever. And I said, it just means the spirit is high.
My GPS just stopped working. I was just like 2 blocks down the street. I'm like, well, what now? And it was just like. I don't know how this is gonna work. Spirit has been telling me to do this all for the last 15 minutes. We have to hold hands. With our other hands, we have to put it out towards MiMi. And they said, say whatever comes to mind, whether it's a praise, whether it's giving each other something, some kind of energy, or giving this to the world. Wonder Twins, activate. I don't know, but on a count of 3, just say whatever in your heart to say. 1, 2, 3. Mahalo.
Yes. Yes and yes.
Yes.
Yes and yes.
Great things for the Sagittarius philosopher coming up.
Yes.
And Bruce Lee is still going to bother you, MiMi.
Oh, my God.
Bruce Lee is one of her spirit guides, too.
Yes.
Because he's a dancer.
Yes.
And he wants her to dance. He said, what she means, she used to dance in college. She dance now. I teach her cha-cha.
Wow.
So that message keeps permeating. Dance, soar, what
Fly.
they say, fly. They said fly high.
Right.
Yes, live it off the wall.
Right.
Like you crazy.
Right.
You want the world to be like, you crazy.
Right.
She crazy. Like,
this is what happens when you get 3 MiMis together. I'm just letting you know.
Well, guys, the moral of the story has always been is what is always is love, life, and light. Live it every day like it's your last moment. Live it every day like it's your last moment. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, my name is Ameerah the Songstress, and you can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, anywhere you want to listen, and on all my social medias at Ameerah the Songstress. And remember, stay focused.
No regret, no regret, no regret. Let me fix my crown, baby. Like dominoes, yeah, it's going down. My feet off the ground, elevated. You feel my soul when you hear my sound. And I don't know why you're like a red light that don't ever change. And you should know why I'm merging to the other lane. I'm getting close, I'm up next, no regrets, making hits. hisses a reflex. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed. Oh, yeah. I'm getting close. I'm up next. No regrets. Making hisses a reflex. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed. No regrets. No regrets. No regrets. Ooh, I'm so tapped in, baby. Yeah, I'm turned on and tuned into that frequency. Bring love and light and healing in my energy. Hear a major difference in these minor melodies. And I don't know why you're familiar faces in strange places. They don't ever change. You should know why I'm merging to the other lane. I'm getting close. I'm up next. No regrets. Making hits is a reflex. Oh, yeah. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed. Oh, yeah. I'm getting close. I'm up next. No regrets. Making hits is a reflex. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed. I came with the keys to the industry. I came with the keys to the industry. I came with the keys to the industry. Oh, yeah. I'm built for this. Came with the keys to the industry. I came with the keys to the industry. I came with the keys to the industry. Oh, yeah. I'm getting close. I'm up next. No regrets. Making hits is a reflex. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed. Oh, yeah. I'm getting close. I'm up next. No regrets. Making hits is a reflex. I'm getting close. Don't take a second to second guess. Riding high so you know I'm blessed.
Yes. Can you hear me, Mimi?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. Okay. Sorry about that. Just wanted you to stay on so you can do your drop. And what I do with this is I play it all week to continue to promote the show because people will go